Plaintiff, Darwin Neal, had a rough upbringing and was introduced to drugs at a young age. After a stint in jail, Darwin claims he turned his life around, and he's now a pastor who owns a handful of rental properties. Darwin is suing his tenant today for unpaid rent. Defendant Melvin Williams says he went to Darwin's church 2 times, and the second time he saw a snake in a pew, which should have been a sign that something wasn't right. Melvin insists Darwin is suing for more than he owes.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
State your name.
Darwin Neal.
Sir?
Melvin Williams.
All right, start with you.
Yes, sir. I'm Pastor Darwin Neal by occupation, sir. I pastor a church in a small community south of Kansas City, Anointed House of Glory Church of God in Christ.
Who'd you vote for presiding bishop?
My presiding bishop, who did I vote for? Well, I voted for our Bishop Shear.
You sure?
I'm sure, sir.
You know something different? All right.
Yes, sir.
That's my pastor.
Well, I love him. He's a great bishop. I serve under a bishop.
Yeah, you didn't even know who it was when I asked you. Now all of a sudden...
You caught me off guard, Judge. You caught me off guard. You caught me off guard. I was ready to get to the case. I've been practicing.
And my pastor last year was, well, he's still my Los Angeles pastor. He was presiding bishop.
That's correct, Bishop Blake.
All right.
I went to his church, sir.
Why'd they kick you out?
They didn't kick me out, sir.
Well, why'd they make you leave?
I was a truck driver, and I just went there to visit.
Oh. Why wouldn't they take you in?
I was a truck driver. I live in Kansas City.
They wouldn't let truck drivers join.
Yeah. Sure they will. We make.
Why wouldn't you? You're on the road. I'm messing with you.
Defendant Melvin Williams is renting a house from the plaintiff, but the plaintiff claims Melvin failed to pay rent for several months, so he's suing.
Okay, so you're a pastor in Church of God in Christ in South
Kansas City.
Okay.
Small restaurant community called Martin City.
Okay.
There, I own a rental properties. That was my retirement plan.
What type
after
of
truck driving, getting to
rental properties?
Yes, sir. And that's where me and the defendant come into play. Well, sir, can I start out by telling a little bit about myself? Well, sir, I'm, first of all, I grew up in kind of a non-Christian background. My father kind of raised me and my brothers on the rough side, fighting and doing drugs and things of that nature.
Never were made to go to church as a child?
My grandfather was a pastor, and my mother, her side of the family, I went during my grandfather's anniversaries, basically, and then as a small child with my grandmother. But it was always in me, so to speak. But I wasn't a constant church member at my grandfather's church, mainly for special occasions after I got up to be an adult. I was introduced to drugs at a young age, and I became a drug dealer, in which I went to jail where I turned my life around at about 26 years old and accepted the call as a pastor.
How long were you
I
in
started
prison?
preaching in jail.
How long had you...
I did 180 days, sir.
How long had you been in the street? How many years?
About 8 years total.
8 years in the street.
Yes, sir.
How many in prison?
No prison, sir. I'm not a felon or anything of that nature. I went to jail for a stolen check after someone doing drugs and accepting a check for it. So I wasn't a very smart or good drug dealer at all.
Let me get some background from him, then I'll get back to furthering
Yes, sir.
testimony. Sir, you want to tell me anything about yourself and your situation?
I came from Texas to Kansas City. I got a job there for the United States Postal Service, so that's how I got from where I'm from
typically
to Kansas City, and I'm still there with the post office, so that's how I met the
you ain't gonna be at the post office and they owe somebody some money.
Well, Pastor, it's a long story, you know. First of all,
pastor, I'm judge. That's pastor.
First of all,
I'm a long way from a pastor.
First of all, Your Honor, I just want to say that, I should have followed my first mind. I've been to Pastor Neal's church twice, and on my second visit there, while we was in the middle of service, I seen a snake slither into a tissue box that was on the end of the pew. I guess this was one of his deacons that I also motioned, and we went outside and he emptied this tissue box upside down and the snake fell out, and I took my feet and I killed the snake. Now, where I'm from, that would have been a sign right there that something wasn't right. And for me to be here with this pastor, I don't think that, I think we could have handled this a lot differently. I really do.
Did you go to his church?
I went to his church 2 times.
You saw the snake?
I did.
All right.
I did.
Excuse me, he's only been once.
I've been twice.
He's been once, sir, and that was just so I could rent to him. He was trying to show me that he was he was trying to show me that he was a Christian.
That's not true.
And he hasn't been to church since. I'm right next door, and that snake story, that is something I'm just now hearing about.
I haven't because of the snake, and I worked with his son, by the way. And his son know I've been twice too, but I don't really, if you're not going to show me any love or compassion, I don't see a reason why I would be sitting up in your church.
No, you say you didn't want to go because you're scared of the snake.
No, I'm not scared of the snake. I can kill a snake, but it's not the snake that I'm really concerned about at this point. But I don't have anything personally against Brother Neal, but for him to be making it seem like, like he's not telling the truth about that, like he's saying I only been once. I've been there twice.
Defendant Melvin Williams is renting a house from the plaintiff, but the plaintiff claims Melvin failed to pay rent for several months, so he's suing.
How does he owe you for rent?
In rent, I allowed him to move into my apartment because it was an emergency situation, my house actually. Because of an emergency situation, he needed a place to stay.
It was not an emergency.
How many months free did you give him?
He moved in and gave me $1,600 first and last month rent.
Sir.
And upon him moving
had
in,
an emergency, why would he go ahead, sir? If he has $1,600,
because he told my son he needed.
Sir, if he has $1,600, it's not much of an emergency.
It wasn't
Move on. It wasn't an emergency?
No, sir, it was not.
What was the emergency?
The place where he was staying, he felt like it was not conducive to the kind of environment he wanted.
All right, me either. So that doesn't make my living situation an emergency.
Yes, sir.
I don't like where I live either. Yeah. It ain't an emergency, though. I can stay there until things change.
Well, sir.
What else?
Upon him moving in.
On emergency. What was the agreement on rent?
$800 a month.
$1,600 for the first month and the down payment.
Yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead.
He moved in about June of 2021. For the first few months, he was on time. He was doing good, and then around February of 2022. He began to get late, and he was a month late, then went to another month, and he got all the way to three months late. And he got rental assistance at that time in April of,
From where?
Of 2022, a rental assistance program.
He told you that?
Yes, sir. And he paid up his rent for 3 months. At that time, he paid all the way to April. And then upon me receiving the money orders that he gave me for rent, I continued to let him stay, thinking that, okay, he's trying to do the right thing. But after that...
He has paid me all that he owes me.
I did.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you were thinking.
Yes, sir.
I'm being nice. You did everything that you would at market price. Deposit, first month rent, and $800 a month. That ain't affordable housing. That ain't no break. That ain't no I'm helping you and lowering the rent because you have an emergency. That's straight up renting. So go ahead. He paid you 100% as of April.
Yeah.
So what else you want to say after that?
After being 3 months late, and then I haven't received any rent.
What months?
From May, June, July, August, September.
$800 per month?
I owe him 3 months.
Hold on, sir. $800 per month?
Yes. And then I took off the $800 deposit, which makes it $3,200.
No, sir, that would make it less than that. He also told me that we had a lease. When I first went through the rental assistance program, it was because I got sick. at work. He should know that his son is my supervisor at work. His son was aware that I was off work on a medical. They sent me for a fit for duty. And after his son went back and told him, he must have brought the situation up to his son, is when he decided to come and apologize. He said, well, yeah, Quentin told me that, you was having some problems at the post office. And only then after I guess he didn't want to believe me on my word. I guess after his son told him and confirmed what I said, is when he let me do the rental assistance program, get the money from him. And like this time, I would have already had the money for him, but I called him and said, look, the people need me to give them a receipt for the months I've paid. And he said, oh, I'll give it to you when you move out. He made mention that I cursed him out and threatened him. I would not do that. I've been letting him make it because of his title. He's a pastor. I grew up in the church. I love the Lord. I would not do this man like that, but he kept on calling me every morning, early morning, talking about, have you moved out my house? Have you moved out my house? And I just didn't want to keep on going through that, and I did go off one morning on him, and I apologize for that. But the way, we if we say we love the Lord, we ought to have some signs of it. That's how they told me.
Show me a sign.
They ought, so I don't know.
Well, excuse me, Judge. Mm-hmm. My whole life as a preacher, pastor, I've been a street preacher for 17 years before pastoring.
What type of services you guys provide? Have you provided?
We feed the homeless. We are right now in a coat drive where we are clothing the homeless. We're calling it the drive for hoodies for the homeless. Every Saturday morning, I stand down on the street corner and I give away hot dogs and drinks to everyone in the community.
But he says what?
To everyone in the community, sir. Judge Mathis.
How do you know different?
I don't know different, but I see him over there around. I don't see them passing out stuff on the weekends.
You just don't see him. That don't mean.
Okay, I'm not saying that he don't.
Judge
I
Mathis.
believe him. He'll lie a little every now and then to get out of a jam.
Okay.
But other than that, he tells the truth.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. It's called Grill to Glory. It's a movement that started in St.Louis. Okay. And we're out on the street corner grilling hot dogs, giving water.
Using the money, obviously, for your programming.
No, sir. We don't take any money out of our.
Just donate the hot dogs?
We just donate the hot dogs.
Great. Good work.
We buy that straight out of the church.
Good work.
Defendant Melvin Williams is renting a house from the plaintiff, but the plaintiff claims Melvin failed to pay rent for several months, so he's suing.
So we have a discrepancy here about the amount owed. He admits that he owes some.
I do.
And you say he owes you $3,200.
That's a month off.
No, sir.
What month?
That's a month off.
I've got text messages from him.
Which month do you not owe for?
July. I thought I was paid up through July. I owed you for 3 months.
Sir.
I would owe you $3,200 right now, but some kind of way you want to take my deposit.
No, sir. Well, first of all, sir,
that's $3,200 straight out.
I brought a lease agreement to him.
When?
Saying that upon me inspecting the property, I will give him the $800 back. Sir,
has he moved?
No, sir. He's still in.
You can't inspect it yet.
And that's what I like to
You don't get your
add,
deposit
Judge.
back until you move, sir.
Upon him moving in.
You have any evidence of your payments?
I'm good with that.
Dispute over which rent,
I'm good with that.
month.
I'm good with that.
All right, if you're good with it, then
I'm good with that. As long as I get the deposit back.
Okay, after you move, you
yes,
get
sir.
the deposit back.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, sir?
Sir, can I mention one other thing?
Yes, sir.
In regards to the condition of my property, our church is located in a restaurant community, a really nice neighborhood. And I told him upon moving in, no pets. He brought a pit bull over there with no dog house, and the pit bull got loose, ran to the barbecue restaurant across the street. He's had shady characters in and out of my house. How long has he had
the pit bull?
That's who I gave the dog to.
How long have you known him to have the pit bull?
The restaurant employees caught it after it had been there about 2 weeks. It got loose, and they took the pit bull home because
no, they did not.
No pets.
I gave them.
Not only, would you please let me talk?
So that problem is eliminated.
True, though.
And then I told him no pets, and now he's got 2 big old giant hairy cats inside the house.
Your Honor, He never gave me a lease. He never said anything about a pet. You knew I had the dog.
And I told you no pets.
No, sir, you did
So
not.
get everything in writing. Because he's
Please.
saying you never did. I can't help you. He said he didn't do it, and you don't have the evidence, and it's not at hand anymore. I could tell him that he has the ability to evict you, and then y'all can discuss and debate and see what the judge believes in terms of you violating the lease. All I'm dealing with is rental payments.
Yes, sir.
The other issue is a separate case altogether.
Yes, sir.
That is violating a clause in the lease. Saying that you can't have pets.
Yes.
And with a lease, verbal conversations are not enforceable. A lease has to be signed in writing.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's a month-to-month tenancy.
Yes, sir.
And you can give him 30 days at any time, 30-day notice to move for no reason at all, if it's a month-to-month.
Yes,
If it's
sir.
a yearly tenancy that is in the form of a lease, everything is controlled by that lease. $3,200 is your judgment, just as you ask. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
I'd like to say, Melvin, I have no problem with you. The only thing that I desire of you from the time that all this occurred, I just wanted you to move out. I didn't want to take you to court, but you told me that you wasn't going to move out until I took you to court.
I did not say that.
So now,
I only said
you're
that
gonna have to
morning,
go,
and
my
you kept
friend.
on calling me. You kept on
And you know
calling me.
what? If you want to come to church, you didn't say we have a snake in there.
That's
but
what we
a
should have
lie.
been doing instead of trying to come to court. We should have been trying to go to church. I think.
It takes two. I'm there. You're not.
You see me over there every day, and you don't never come there unless it's got something to do with some money.
Melvin, I go over there and talk to you all
When
the
these
time.
people were trying to get in touch with me, it amazed me and how often I seen you then.
Melvin.
But the only time-
It's just the other day I went over there and talked to you.
To tell me what?
Huh?
To get in touch with them.
Yeah, because you didn't have a phone, Melvin.
Okay.
Your phone's
I did
turned
not,
off.
I did not have a phone on.
How can you be a truck driver with no phone?
Let me ask you this.
That tells me something's wrong with you, Melvin.
The pastor, right?
I am.
I be wanting some love and compassion out of you.
Well, I forgive you, Melvin.
Instead of you talking about me or and my phone, could you help me get that phone on?
I would have.
Or could the church?
I would have.